They said she was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark. Turns out some things are easier said than done. My name is Rich Latta. Welcome back to the channel, of course. Just got finished watching the opener of the season between the Minnesota Lynx and the Dallas Wings. Kind of a one-sided game in that second half. The Lynx, down two starters, decided it was Courtney Williams and Napheesa Collier against the world, as those two look like an NBA Jam duo out there, just cooking and frying every single defender that's dared to step in front of them. In Napheesa Collier's case, I felt like she was so wide open, I could see the whites of her eyes, from the way that she looked as they were just letting her in the paint, with reckless abandon in that second half. So it was the first game of the season, first game of Paige Bueckers' career, and to say that there was a lot to be left desired, I feel like would be an accurate statement. She went 3 for 10, was a negative 19 on the evening, and she didn't. I think the numbers kind of look worse than she actually looked out there. She looked pretty comfortable. It looks like she just missed shots tonight, in my estimation. But the offense of the Wings is something to be concerned about, just because I can't count the amount of times I felt like I saw them running different directions, getting their plays, kind of messed up. And it just looked very difficult for them to really, get their scores all clicking together. Like, we would see Enrique look good for a short portion. Then we would see Paige look like she's about to, turn the corner and get it rolling, but she just, ended up missing a lot of shots. And then the first half, Dejanay Carrington attacked the basket pretty aggressively and got a couple and ones, a couple nice highlight plays in the first half. But I think the Wings have a long way to go. They essentially have no front court. It looks like, the Nalissa Smith thing from last year, where there were a lot of excuses made for her as far as, what she might look like with a quote-unquote real point guard in Paige Bueckers. After one night, it did not look too promising. Nalissa did get a tech, I believe, during the game. I think the coach has to get in the lab, and I think this team will function a lot better handing Paige the ball and telling her, hey, be aggressive, look to score, we're going to ride you, and Enrique will score around you. Because I saw some of the playmaking that Paige did. There was a really nice assist that she ended up throwing to Nalissa Smith, and she didn't look nervous at all. She didn't look overwhelmed or tired or anything. She looked like she just, kind of was amongst the pack. That was the worst thing I could say about Paige, is that she just didn't stand out. She oohed and awed the crowd on the opening sequence of the game, and that was pretty much it. The rest of it was just kind of, about 10 feet away from the basket, trying to pull up around a screen, or just, very pedestrian plays. Nowhere near the excitement that last year's opener between the Fever and the Sun with Caitlin Clark's debut, even though, she did have 10 turnovers. Don't want to, omit that. But she did score 20 that game. So, 10 points for Paige. We're going to go through the box score in just a minute. But I'd be remiss if I did not talk about the way Napheesa Collier came out in this third quarter. We're going to get to Courtney Williams as well. But Napheesa Collier felt like she realized nobody could guard her. She had 14 going into the half. I believe she finished with 34 points, if I'm not mistaken. She finished with 34 points. And again, we're going to get to the box score in just a second. But 34 points, and it seemed like she got 20 of them just immediately at the rim or on the inside. When Collier gets it going, she really feels unstoppable. I don't know a better way to really describe it, just as I see it when it's happening. It's like a slow car crash for the defense trying to stop her, because you would think, hey, it doesn't seem like she's the most overpowering athlete there is, but she has such control of her angles and the way that she attacks and creates space for herself while being undersized. They can't do anything with her. It's really amazing. It really felt like she was out to send a message that she wants to be the MVP this year, and God bless her. We need more great players announcing it and grabbing it by the throat that they are here. They are for real. And Collier's got that attention now on her, I believe, that they did not have last year with the Lynx. I thought this game was going to be in Minnesota. I think that perhaps, as a WNBA finals team, they might have been a bit offended. They had to go on the road to Dallas, of all teams. So, the first half they kind of struggled. They were letting Dallas kind of, just play with them. They were playing down to Dallas's level. And they ended up having just, I assume, a scream session in the halftime with Cheryl Reeve, like, hey, y'all got to guard somebody. And I don't know if they so much guarded the wings any better, but they damn sure started making all the shots. With Courtney Williams, just a mid-range Hall of Fame badge type player. It literally looked like NBA Jam with, two players just catching fire in that third quarter, and they cracked the entire game open. Now, I don't know when this is going to happen for Paige Bueckers, but eventually she's going to look around and be like, I do not have the talent around me that I've always had. Yes, there is Arike Ngumbuwale there. Yes, there's Dejanay Carrington. But as an offensive talent, I don't think Carrington is somebody you want to go to war with. So just with Arike and Paige, it is kind of an awkward fit in my estimation. But eventually everyone in that organization is going to look around and say, Paige, we need more. We need you to take us where we are going to go, or else, we're all going to be waiting here and for another, top draft pick next year or the year after that to go with you. But this is not going to be a record-shattering season, I think, for Paige Bueckers. Could she end up making an all-star team? Could she, end up having a very good rookie season? Absolutely. But I think there are a glaring amount of red flags going on with that offense that is just going to make it hard for them to stay in games night to night, because they're essentially going to get nothing from their front court. Maddie Siegrist off the bench was very effective in her minutes and seemed to display a level of touch in the mid-range areas to where you could sub her in if you don't necessarily want to lose Napheesa Smith, which you would do if you put her on the bench. But you play a platoon with those two. You bring Maddie in to, hit some of those mid-range shots or, score off those layups. And then you put Napheesa in to essentially keep her engaged. I think that's the strategy there. They're going to have to be careful on how they do that. So let's take a look at the box score. So it was 99-84. It didn't even seem that close in the second half. I believe the Lynx got up to 20 at one point. But let's look at this box score. So we got Dejanay Carrington, 15 points for her, but also a minus 15 in her minutes. Shot 45%, hit a three, which was, good for her. And as I mentioned, she ended up with a few and ones that got her to the line, and she, was playing very hard as always. Maisha Hyams-Allen came in, was on the Lynx last year. Had it going in the first half and then quietly disappeared in the second. Ended up with -8 for the game, 11 points. And Napheesa Smith, she was somebody that on this channel, I often found myself going to bat for her when no one else would. But man, -11 and 6 points in just over 17 minutes is tough to defend. Relatively quiet night for Arike, 16 points, -20. And only shooting 33% on the night. Did not hit a three at all. 8 of 8 from the line. So not her best evening. Paige Bueckers, a -19, 3 of 10. That efficiency that everyone has talked about, the assist-to-turnover ratio, that tonight was out the window. That just is not part of the conversation. So only 10 points for her. So, we'll see how we'll check in on Paige throughout the season. As I mentioned, Maddie Siegrist came off the bench. She was a -15 in her minutes, but she did give them 11 off the bench, which is, something. But besides that, not really too much to really talk about. Down to the Minnesota Lynx, 3 points for Bridget Carlton. She was kind of on Paige duty. Paige did not face the amount of defensive pressure that you would think a number 1 overall pick would get. Sometimes she would get a 3/4 court pickup, but no windmill clothesline fouls, none of that from Bridget Carlton on Paige Bueckers tonight. But as I mentioned, Napheesa Collier, 34 points, 12 of 21 on 57%, hit 2 threes, 8 free throws, and was a +28. She looked sensational. If you take nothing away from this video, know that Napheesa Collier is one of the best women's basketball players you will ever see in your life. Jessica Shepard stepped in, and she was kind of playing in place of Alana Smith, who missed a game, as well as Kayla McBride. Kayla McBride was out for personal reasons. Jessica Shepard, in her place, played about 30 minutes, plus 20 and 15 points, 8 boards. They mentioned that she did not play in the league last year, so if she comes in and she can give them 15 a game or just below that, that is found money for a team that a lot of the general managers are picking to win the championship this year. So Courtney Williams, 25 points, blacked out in that third quarter. Awesome podcast with her dad. I'm a huge fan of Courtney Williams, plus 24 for the night. And Diamond Miller came off the bench, I believe former Chicago Sky player, 13 points. And even Alyssa Pilley got in the game, so that was pretty cool. But, yeah, overall, pretty entertaining game, at least from the Lynx side. I think when it comes to the Wings, they have a lot of questions to answer. I think reality may be coming for Paige Bueckers, to quote Diana Taurasi. And some of the pundits that talked about the ease of the transition that Paige would face, just with seemingly no resistance, like at all. Everyone just was on 100%. And while Paige was in college, I just felt like her frame would not allow her to compete immediately at that level. I actually was encouraged by seeing the way that she banged with some of the players, where it was like, okay, maybe physically she is a little bit, ahead of schedule, but that's going to come with time. And, I look forward to seeing, where she goes from here. At least we got something on tape. We got something to discuss now. What we're saying now isn't necessarily going to be true, maybe even in a month. But overall, I think it is, something to build from. She's not going to be happy playing and shooting 3 for 10. I'm sure Gino Auriemma is not happy seeing this, or, the UConn Mafia is not, scrambling to yell from the mountaintops over this one. But there are going to be games like this. So I still, believe that she's going to be really good. I still think she's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I do think it is not a laydown, though. Sonia Citron had a great night, and we will see what Dominique Malunga does. So anyway, my name is Rich. What did you guys think of the game? What did you think of Paige Bueckers' rookie debut? And how are you feeling about Napheesa Collier? Because, man, she's incredible. Anyway, my name is Rich. I'm up out of here. One lifetime. Peace.